What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Call of Duty League Kickoff Classic that we saw this previous weekend of the 23rd and 24th of January. And this tournament really helped us understand and see for ourselves how some of the teams that we hadn't seen in the offseason worked together. And we saw how in some new faces like Diamond Con for the subliners, fit into the roster of their teams. New York had to unfortunately drop Zuma this previous off season, actually a couple weeks ago, and it was very unfortunate because they thought that they were going to use him for this upcoming season, and it turns out that they had to call in this guy named Diamond Khan from the academy. So this tournament really the tournament's purpose was really to like Clayster said it from the New York Subliners, it was really a glorified scrimmage where we were going to get an idea of how every team played, with their new acquisitions and with the new 4v4 rosters. So we could just have an idea of what we were going to see for the upcoming season in Call of Duty. And we got several clips from each team in these 2 days, and we got to see how they played with each other against other teams, how they matched up. In this series, we had New York Subliners against the Dallas Empire, and honestly, this was a slaughter from Illy from the first game up until the last. This guy was just destroying the subliners, and it was honestly a showcase of his skill and what he can do and what he brings to the table for a team like Dallas. And this is what this tournament showed us from the Dallas side. We saw that Shotzi went off the first game. I'm not sure exactly how many kills he did, but he went off. And as you can see here, Illy putting in the work. He got best play like almost every round of every game. And as they were playing control, he was also getting the working on the objectives, helping the team. Really, what we saw this weekend was how Dallas is still the reigning champions of Call of Duty and how they are still very dominant. Now, people are going to say that under the circumstances with New York, it was obvious because a lot of people called it 3-0, but that's what it is. Now, for the Los Angeles Guerrillas, who faced off the Seattle Surge this past weekend, they had Apathy, who was one of the key players in this series and who was basically running the show for the first like 2 games. This team, the Gorillas, have been doubted as well as the Surge, and these are the two teams, one of the two teams that are mostly doubted in the CDL right now because of their entire roster changes. Like everybody in the roster has changed, so they don't know how these teams uh, would play up until this weekend. And now we know that Gorillas actually play decently good together. Now we know that these two teams play decently with each other, and they gave us a very, very good series to watch, a very good match to watch as they win all 5 games, and it was action packed. I'm not gonna lie, this was one of the better games I saw, and this was one of the only drawn out games that I think happened this weekend. And as you can see, Seattle Surge had its moments where they weren't really playing up to their highest potential, but then there were other games where they just were absolutely dominating the Gorillas. And looking at this footage of them playing hardpoint, it's easy to tell that the Gorillas, can be overlooked. They can be that team that people are going to overlook this season. And Apathy was showing some crazy movements in there. Just because he's dad doesn't mean he doesn't have the speed, the quickness to compete with these little kids like he's done in years past. He is a world champion after all. But this team I think is going to go under the radar and is going to show a lot of people that they can actually bring more to the table than a lot of other teams, and they're going to probably surprise several teams out there this year. Now, Octane being like the number one player, that the team is the Seattle Surge are like built around. He is really like the dominant force in that team, and he showed a couple of his skills. He didn't go off per se this weekend, but he was chilling. Pristini as well from the Seattle Surge. He looked very good. This weekend was more of a Pristini and gunless type of weekend where they got to show what they had in store. Because they are more of like not the weaklings, but they are the part of the team where people don't know how they're gonna play out, and they don't know how they're gonna work with each other. So Pristini and Gunless and Looney really shined this weekend. Like they showed little glimpses of like what they got. And Pristini more than anything, like you can see here, Pristini was getting some clutch plays in some rounds, and he was really helping the team uh right here, securing this area. He got a couple kills right here. He was putting in that work in this game. I think it was a search and destroy if I'm not mistaken. But as you can see here, apathy with the reflexes, like I was saying, these two teams are legit. Just because they're at the bottom of the scoreboard, or they were at the bottom of the leaderboard the past season, doesn't mean that they aren't going to show what they got this season. And they're completely new rosters, so we're going to see how it goes. For FaZe, we were honestly surprised to see that FaZe lost their match with the Florida Mutineers. They lost 3-2. But to be honest, the Florida Mutineers are nasty. They're looking nasty, even with a new rookie player in Neptune that we saw this weekend. He was doing really great. Like he was, as you can see here, he was really performing in that slot that they give him, and he was really contributing to the team in ways that we probably didn't imagine. He, for his age, he looks like a very disciplined player, and he was getting kills here and there, as you can see right there. Got a little nice little three piece. You know, this kid looks disciplined, and I think they might keep him. It's too early to tell right now, but they might keep him in the team, for the whole season. They benched Havok, which was their actual starter, and they benched him for this guy. So, if he keeps playing like he did this weekend, he's going to be a very, strong asset to the Mutineers. And I don't see why they won't, hold him for the rest of the season. And that was one of the biggest questions we had to go in this weekend. How would Neptune perform? And he answered for us. And I'm confident that the Mutineers are going to be contenders this year, like serious contenders. As you can see here, they were bringing the work for FaZe. It wasn't easy for FaZe. As you can see here, Atlanta tried to come back. They had tied the series 2-2, but Florida Mutineers weren't budging. And it would have only taken 2 rounds for FaZe to beat them here, but eventually the Mutineers beat them out. They beat them 6-4, and they took the series 3-2. So this tournament really showed us. It answered a couple questions, on how teams would look with certain new players. It didn't answer all questions, but for sure this first day it clarified several things for us. Diamond Con looks like a solid replacement, not a complete replacement, but a solid player for the, you know, for the New York Subliners. Neptune looks like a very good substitute for the Florida Mutineers. Not a substitute, a good role player. Sky's Awakening and Slack, they're just nasty together with this kid Neptune, and I'm really curious to see where the Mutineers go this season. And we saw FaZe for the first time with our cities, and let me tell you, they look pretty nasty. They look pretty nasty. Even though they lost, they look pretty nasty. So I'm pretty hopeful for these teams that we saw in the first day of the kickoff. And remember, if you want to see more content like this, come back and check out the channel every week, and I will be uploading more content in the days to come. Thanks.